Hello viewers, today we are going to be servicing and repairing a Holmes stand fan. This is model, I believe it's an HASF. Okay, it's not going to fall apart. Let's see here, HASF-1502, and this is a 16-inch fan. Now, I did the initial checkout video of this fan a while ago now, but it does runs fine, except for the oscillation doesn't work properly, and it seems to just rotate very freely, so I believe there is something broken inside of there, which, depending on what it is, may or may not be an easy fix. So let's begin disassembling the unit, and I think just to make things easier, I'm going to remove it from the stand. Well, that could have been bad. And I'm going to take the stand apart and turn it into a table fan just so that it fits on the studio here a little bit better. It's a long screw, jeez. Okay, so I'll set that aside, and put this on here, just so that it's a little bit easier to work with. Okay. It's kind of neat to be able to have it as a stand or a table fan. Once again, I forgot to extend the studio. Oh well. Alright, let's take this apart. This clip is kind of bent, so let's go ahead and fix that right away. Actually, that's very mangled. I don't understand how that even would have happened. It's more towards what it's supposed to be. There we go. So it's relatively dusty. Doesn't seem like it's anything other than regular household dust, so it should clean up easily. These have only plastic threads, and I don't know if this particular model is one of them, but these are known for stripping out. And I can see on the shaft here that there is plastic dust, and there's some plastic dust inside of here, so that's kind of a crummy design. Very sturdy blade. It's not that flexible at all. Definitely a nice quality piece. Two screws that we're going to remove to take the front cover off. Those are quite loose already. And it doesn't. Oh, there's a third screw. Couldn't see it from the angle at which I was standing. screw. There's a screw. There's not a screw on top of the oscillation mechanism. So I guess it's probably just pulls off. I don't know. Anyways, here's the motor. There's actually visibly two different kinds of wire in there, which is unusual. But looks like a well-made motor. You can see there's a lot of excuse me. There's a lot of openings for the air to flow through, so it's not going to just overheat inside the housing. So looks like the switch has to come off in order to get this plastic motor housing cover off, so we'll remove the switch. Let's see if this wants to move. Okay, I'm seeing another screw back there. Actually, looks to have some oil in there. Let's take this off, and hopefully this, I think this will release everything. Oh, that's incredibly dumb. I don't think there's any way to get the switch through the housing there. You gotta be kidding me. What a deplorable design. Huh. Well, I wasn't expecting a non-serviceable unit here. Okay, it's so irritating. I don't think there's any way for me to just force this through. No, it's not going to just come through here, so I'm going to have to remove. I'm going to have to either remove the wires from the switch, which I really don't want to do, or remove the wires from the fan somehow, which also does not seem very doable. So I'm going to detach the capacitor and see if I can get a little more room to work with that way. Just like to be able to pull this off here enough to take a look at it. Yeah, there's really no, there's no good way to get that off. Well, let me see how easily these wires want to come out of the switch. I've been told that you can put something sharp in here, not sharp, but small, and it just releases the wire. Let's see if this will go back in just as well. Aha! Okay, then that's what we'll do. Crisis diverted. I'll just pull the wires out of the switch. And I do have to make a little note here because I'm going to forget format and go back in, because this is not labeled at all. So, alright, pencil. This is going to go yellow, green, red, white. So, here's my notation for reassembly. Insert this thing in here, and I guess that pushes back the contact enough that I can just pull the wire right out and it doesn't damage anything. I really wish I knew about that sooner, because because I've broken several of these switches trying to get wires out, and that's so stinking easy. I still don't like the design of this, but at least that is relatively serviceable after all. So now I can pull this off, and this is really nasty inside. So I do want to be able to just dump this in the sink or pressure wash it whenever I decide to do this. So let's see why the oscillating mechanism is not working, because that's, if anything, is going to be difficult to repair here. It's going to be that. Now it appears to be that we just have a broken piece of plastic. It looks like this piece of plastic is just supposed to be here. That would appear to be the only issue. So let's get this turned on. Of course now there's no switch, so getting it turned on is going to be interesting. I don't know what speed this is, but we'll go with it. I'm just going to connect these two to get this speed working, and this shouldn't be an issue. What I want to see is whether or not this is going to turn. That is turning, so in theory if I held this here, this would oscillate normally. Now this is going to be very difficult to fix because, well, I shouldn't say it. It's going to be hard to get it to stay on because that's a point of a lot of stress on the piece. That's obviously why it broke. You know, because this is carrying the weight of the entire motor and the blade assembly and such. So this does definitely have to get glued back on there, and that will make it work. It's just the question of getting that stuck on there. So I'm going to clean this all off very well, and then I'm going to try to glue it with hot glue. That's going to be my first attempt. And if that doesn't work, I will have to see if I can get some sort of a high-powered epoxy or something of that nature. Just to show how much force is really on this thing. Oh, you can't see it because it's blurry, but now you can see that the plastic tab has actually bent before it snapped off. So I guess this is another area of poor design on this fan. It's not a very large surface area connecting these two high torque pieces. So I'm going to get some glue, clean that up, and then we'll try to get that stuck on there. Okay, so the parts have been cleaned. Admittedly, they don't look that much cleaner, but I cleaned it with Dawn dishwashing soap to try to get all the grease off of it, the oil residue or whatever that would prevent the glue from working correctly. So I cleaned it best I could, and we're now ready to glue it on. Unfortunately, it looks like the plastic kind of deformed a little bit. It's not a perfectly clean break, so we're going to have to just make do with what we can here. But I think it'll be okay because I am going to glob a lot of glue on there just to add extra strength to it. So even though it's not a perfect fit, I don't think it'll be the problem in this case, especially because we're using hot glue, which is very thick. So yeah, I'm going to cut the video here, and then I'll pick back up once I've got it on there. Okay, so I've glued it in place, and yes, I have used an excessive amount of a glue, but as I said before, the amount of force that's on this piece is really quite remarkable. So I want to make sure that it's not going to break again. So I think this will work. It feels very sturdy. So while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and clean off the other parts. We got this motor cover, which is pretty dirty, especially inside. This piece, the knob, and then the guard and the blades. Alright, so the glue has dried. I've cleaned off all the other parts of the fan, and I did clean off the motor on the surface. There was a lot of dust accumulated, just surface dust, actually wasn't all that much, but there was dust in there. There was a lot of extra grease on things, which is not detrimental, but it does cause the dust to accumulate faster, which ends up blocking the airflow, which causes the motor to run hotter and fail prematurely. So I do like to clean the excess grease off and make sure everything is as clean as it can be, within reason. So that's what I did here. And I haven't been inside the motor yet. I saved that to do on video. So let's go ahead and get inside the motor. I did notice there was a couple of odd defects with the molding of this motor. Do some zooming here and we'll take a look. The first one you can see right here. This is like some sort of it's not a crack because it's separated too much to be a crack, but it's like some weird defect in the housing there. And then on the oscillator on the top, you can see right there, it's like it on the other side as well where it screws in. There is a crack. So I'm not sure if this was just poorly molded or if it was defective or something. But anyways, open the oscillating mechanism here, and then we'll split the motor open to oil the bearings. Although they do seem to be pretty clean and lubricated as they are, I do want to put some fresh oil in there because it probably has never been oiled in its entire life. Oh no! It's got one of those stupid ball oscillators and the balls just came out. That's so frustrating to get those stupid things back into place. Actually, this one, because it only came out on one side, it may not be too bad. Let's see here. Yep, that other one just went flying across the room. Hence why I absolutely despise these kind of oscillators. Fortunately, it didn't go too far. It's right here. Okay, it's back in. Hopefully it doesn't come out again. Anyways, to my surprise, there's actually an abundance of oil and grease inside the thing here. It's the wrong way. So that's good. Usually there is not. But that just goes to show that this was a more quality manufactured piece compared to some of the other fans that have been made in more recent times. Holmes has always been a pretty good brand, and even their stuff today seems to be relatively well made as well. So that's good. Actually, the gearbox is metal. The gears themselves are plastic. I guess there's no need to detach the gearbox completely, so I'll leave that on. We've got to clean the shaft off because the shaft is very dirty, especially right up where it meets, and that's again because of the excess lubrication or lubricant on here has caused dirt and dust to accumulate. This is why we don't over oil things. Actually, what I'm going to do in this case, and this is another use of detergent oil, I'm going to put some on here to clean this off. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this in the video, but that took it all right off. So now we should be able to just slide the shaft off, the bearing off. Well, we do have to remove this first. Come on, bro. Get off there. Alright, we should be able to just slide the bearing off now. So we'll undo the screws. Okay, it's one of those stupid kinds of things where okay, I gotta have to cut this tie wrap. That's annoying. And I'm not really a fan of these things because they're not reusable. Oh, and this is all convoluted here because this capacitor has to... well, we don't need this connected anymore. Is it not going to fit over the... okay, this is really a stupid design. So this actually is never going to come out unless I cut this crimp off, because the wires go through the rear bearing housing, which is just a ridiculous design. Now this doesn't quite want to come out, so I'm going to put some more oil on here and see if we can get it to loosen a little bit more. Okay, and there's the shaft. So we'll go ahead and get that cleaned up, clean out the bearings, and then we'll re-lubricate it. Actually, I have a ticker towel here and I have to cut the video. So we're going to take a towel and go through here and go get, it's getting late, and get all the existing lubricant out of here because it looks like it's a little bit gummed up after being in here for so many years. And I clearly need to go to sleep. I'm losing my ability to speak. Too big, let's try something smaller. Alright, so that bearing is really clean now. And we'll do this other one. It's really flaky with the windings being attached to this. It's also really not ideal, but what is. I think some of the grease from the oscillation mechanism has seeped into that bearing over the years, which is kind of undesirable. See, there's some hardened grease in there, which is not good. It's not really going to be effectively lubricating anything. Okay, now we're going to clean the shaft. In this case, I don't really want to clean where the gears are because that grease is fine for the gearbox, because I never really use oscillation anyways, so I'm just going to leave that alone. And I just want to clean the bearing, or the part where it meets the bearings. I'm getting all slimy now. Okay. Good. So now we should be ready to go. So I'm going to go wash my hands so I don't get all the tools slimy, and then we're going to reassemble the motor. So I'm going to take non-detergent oil, which is in the blue can. Here we go with this again. Unblur. Even the camera's getting tired of this. Fans. This is specifically for fans. The other 3-in-1 is not for fans. Look at the two cartons. This one has fans on it, and this one doesn't. This one has transportation devices, circular saws, wrenches. This one has fans, power saws, lawn mowers, power tools. But most importantly, it has fans. It's blurry now. But you get the point. It's got fans, because it's for fans. So open up this fan oil. And now I'm all slimy again. Oh dear. And we're going to put fan oil on this fan shaft. And I'm going to put some fan oil in this fan bearing. And back in it goes. A little bit of oil on this side too. I'm not really surprised this doesn't have any oil ports actually. Okay, now this fan shaft is back in place with fan oil in it. And I'm going to wipe off the front just so it's easier to work with. That should be spinning pretty freely. I'm going to add a few drops of fan oil inside here. And again, I don't want to over lubricate it because then that will open up a whole other set of issues. Put some oil on the front of the fan shaft. Just enough so that it doesn't drip out. You don't want it to be leaking all over the place. But it's spinning freely now. So we're going to go ahead and put the rear back on. There is some oil that got onto the rotor. I'm going to wipe that off because there's no reason for it to be there. It's just going to collect dust. Okay, and now before I slide this back piece into place, of course there's some junk getting on there from the end of the shaft. I guess I should have cleaned it off. Oh well, life will go on. Try to do this carefully and not get too much junk on there. Just don't tilt down or it's kind of annoying. I want to make sure plenty of oil works its way into the back bearing here as well. Okay, looks like it has. So we're going to go ahead and screw this back together now. Lovely. I'm going to have to get a new tie wrap to put on the wire there. Actually, I may use something else. What else could I use to put it there? Maybe I'll just use a small piece of wire and crimp it down because... Nah, I'll just use a tie wrap. It's easier. I'm not going to be servicing this thing every day anyways. Let's see what the alignment's looking like. Not bad. gears are getting a little messed up, but that's to be expected because the top's not on. So, let's see if we can get that flat again. Alright, I think I got a tie wrap over here. Yeah, I do. Perfect. Before I put that on, I'm just going to wipe off the oil from there because it is very oily for some reason. Make sure that it's got plenty of room to oscillate and not crimp on anything. I don't like how they have this secured there because that's putting an awful lot of strain on the wire in this particular flex point. But they are all like that, so all the oscillating fans. Now we'll cut the excess off of this. Let's put the oscillating mechanism back together. Oh, this top is plastic. No wonder why it cracked. Probably just cracked because somebody put the, or some machine, wherever, put the screws in too tight. These are self-tapping screws. Doesn't sound very good, but let's see if it's working. It's working. Yeah, okay, that's working. Good. Let's see, we've got the capacitor on. I think it is now time to go get the plastic components that I washed earlier and start putting those back on. Motor is serviced and ready to go. Actually, we can connect this first. How exactly we're going to get that screwed on is beyond me. I think what we're going to have to do is, because there's no way we're getting the screwdriver to that screw, so I think what I gotta do is undo this screw first. And then if I undo this, I believe that will allow me to rotate the motor like this. Access to the thing with the screwdriver. Although even still, it's not going to be very easy. What's that? Not well, like how that is. It's very, unless that's just a defect in the way this is glued. It's very tight. Maybe I'm gonna have to modify this so that it's the way it should be, because that extra force is not going to be good as it's running. Huh. Alright, what in the world can we do about that? Because see, what it should be is, this naturally wants to be like up here. So maybe if I turn this over, I think it's going to be way too low. But I'll try that. This is so awkward to unscrew this thing here. Put this on like so. Yeah, that's not gonna work either. So then what the heck? I guess what happened is, when I glued this on, which I'm very happy with the glue job, it's never gonna break again. This piece, I guess the whole thing is a little bit discombobulated here. Let's see if I can maybe bend this into a shape that'll work. I think that'll work if I can get this at just the right angle. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think that'll work. I'm not 100% content with this. I'll try to bend it a little bit more precisely in the vise here. Let's try that. Yeah, I realize you can't see anything, just bear with me for a moment. Okay, that's not satisfactory. Alright, for lack of having all the time in the world, we're going to go with that. That should hold it there. It's bent from what it originally was, but now it's, I guess what happened is, oh man, where'd that other screw go? Oh jeez. Oh, here it is. I guess what happened was, when I glued this back on, I glued it right on to where it would have originally been, but the piece was like warped, and I think it's thrown it off just enough to the point where it wasn't aligned correctly. So I think it's okay now. I'm going to screw this back on here and check and make sure that it's okay. I have to admit, this is not super friendly to service, and I kind of expected it would be. Alright, and I'll put a small drop of oil on there. And then we'll put some oil on here as well. Oh, we should just put it on this side because it's never going to stick to this other thing. Okay, that looks good. It is in fact oscillating, and this has a good amount of play in it, but enough tension to still work properly. Wipe off the excess oil, and we are ready to go. So let's get the rest of the parts back together. I cleaned this with that Windex with ammonia D stuff again, and I have to say it really is a great cleaner. I'm gonna go buy some more of it because it cleaned this up really well. This looks almost new. So here we go with this crazy thing again. Feed these wires. It's going to be interesting trying to feed these wires into here because there's not a lot of slack. I'm going to have to pull them through with the tweezers or something. Okay, I was done with that anyways. I think something's not right here. Oh, I know why it's being convoluted, because the wires go through on different sides. Okay. So the yellow and green should be coming through on the left here. this is a pain in the rear. What a terrible design. Alright, now we can put the switch in. So we're going to try to get this in the way it was before, otherwise the speeds aren't going to be right. My perception of colors isn't exactly what it should be, so hopefully I don't screw this up. Looks like it was supposed to be yellow. Greens. Reds. Get in there. And then whites. Okay. This isn't... I don't like this. Where is it going further than that? I guess that's just how it is. I don't know. No, that's not how it is. Now it's in the way it's supposed to be. You really got to force that in there. It does not go in easily at all. Okay. That was kind of a freak show. Now I think we're going to stop here and give it a test before I go any further, just to make sure there's no mechanical or electrical issues that we need to repair. Don't expect there to be, but you never know. I didn't realize that was going to be visible. Oh well. I'd rather have it ugly than work. I mean, I'd rather have it ugly and work than sightly and not work. I don't like how little slack there is on that. I think actually, can I force some more through? I don't know. Maybe, there we go. A little bit's coming through. So it'll make that squeaking noise as the wire moves. If it's not, if it don't have enough slack. And that seems to be the case here. Just wondering maybe if I can easily feed some more through it. I think I can do so without too much effort. Yeah, there we go. Alright, that should help alleviate some of that squeaking. Alright, Let's try it again. Oh, I guess not. Actually, I think it got worse. Maybe it was exactly the opposite. Maybe there was too much slack. That's good, I'm happy with that. Leave it there for now. That's working satisfactorily. Try another speed here. And it's vibrating just because this is a metal thing on a wood table. There's no feet on this. Alright, that's working. And this is solid as can be. That was a great fix. Very, very happy with that. That should hold up for a while. Okay. Water cover. Oh, we gotta put this thing on first. This grill could probably fair to be repainted. There's a couple of nicks up here at the top. There's one right there, but nothing major. I'm actually very happy with how this came out. It looks really good. That ain't right. What the heck? How could that be? What in the world? Unless this is supposed to go in the other way. I guess I should have taken note of which direction this is supposed to go in. Oh well, that's easy enough to fix, I guess. We'll just... Oh, I can't turn that. I gotta feed the wires through again. Alright, well, that's a little bit of a nuisance. Where's the other tweezers? At least I don't have to take the whole thing apart again. So, I guess it's gotta go like this. Yeah, that would make more sense. Alright, okay, I gotta feed these wires through the other side now. So, this is gotta come over here. I guess that would offer some explanation as to why the wires weren't seeming to feed in through here correctly. Okay, now so hopefully that's how it's supposed to go. That certainly makes a lot more sense. Alright, now we're ready for the test. I hope. Turn this around and get it plugged up. Just until it's working. We'll plug it in now. It has a polarized plug. I guess it's not that old. Alright, here we go. Move the camera over here. Whack everything on site first. start off on low. It's oscillating. And it's still squeaking because of the wire. If I used oscillation a lot, I would try to fix that, but I really don't, so I'm not worried about it. That's moving a lot more air than it used to, that's for sure. Medium and high. Oops, stop. Yeah, that's moving a lot of air. And this isn't even the regular airflow tester. This one's 2 or 3 times wider. This is a strong fan. This may actually be too strong for the bedroom. I was going to use this in the bedroom, but it's going to blow me out of the bed. Now the spin down time is very good. Okay. And it's pretty cool that you can use it as a table fan or a stand fan. I got the stand pole here, so I'll go ahead and put this in because I don't have a lot of space in the bedroom on the tables for a fan, so I do want to put it on the floor. Those are both tightened. Set this down on the floor. Oh dear! That wasn't good. Just picked the fight with the ceiling fan. That was a very successful repair. Thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe, and out.